What's up, my Yugi bros? This week is dedicated solely to Dark Moth and how we defeat it. Today we're going to do Relinquished versus Dark Moth. We're actually going to do 3 matches for you guys to kind of showcase more stuff. But get ready, because Dark Moth week is officially beginning. I know a lot of you have been asking for more decks to try and defeat the infamous Dark Moth, so we today are going to tap into our potential. You guys know my love for Relinquished, so of course I'm going to start with that. I still think this deck has one of the best chances to give Dark Moth a run for its money. And let's talk about that. So, let's begin, shall we? Kicking it off, obviously, we are playing the Ritual Ceremony skill card, which says once per duel we can reveal a ritual monster, aka Relinquished, and then add a ritual spell, aka Black Illusion Ritual, from deck to hand. The opposing opponent is playing Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. This is the Dark Moth skill that you will play. The entire deck is wrapped around dark monsters and continuous trap cards and a bunch of BS. It's kind of a tempo-based thing, but your boss and your win con is this, which says you contribute an insect from either field equipped with an equip card, and if you do, special summon an insect monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. The other effect of this is you can shuffle an insect from your grave to your deck, then draw 1 card. You get both of these skills once per duel. So, we're going to start. They're going to start. We elect to go second, but even if they elect to go first, no matter what, usually, to set up this stuff, and we always go second because we like to absorb things Relinquished. So they're gonna set Doria, they're gonna set Nightmare Wheel, and Zoma the Spirit. So I'm gonna actually try to explain. I'm gonna stop doing so many play-by-plays and more or less explain what's going on here. I've done many of play-by-plays in the past. You guys have seen me do that. For the sake of this video, I don't want it to be too long, but I want to get in 3 matches as well. So we're going to flip our skill. We use our what's nice about Senju, it's a 1 card Relinquished, because we add Relinquish and when we use the skill right after to add Black Illusion Ritual. So as long as you have that skill and that monster, you can easily get all the cards. So we're going to take the monster with Relinquished. We're going to take their set monster. I feel like this is still really good against this deck because whether it be Dekoichi or Nidoria, either Nidoria straight blows this up, but unless we have the Illusionist Faceless Magician, it doesn't really net us too much. And if it's Dekoichi, we prevent them from drawing an extra card, which is really good. And also, we can start applying pressure right away. So we're going to set Double Cyclone on Offerings, and we're going to swing with Senju. This makes them flip this stuff more often, and if you know anything about old Yu-Gi-Oh, it's more or less a numbers game. You kind of just have to slowly whittle away at all of their options. So they're going to flip Zoma here in the end phase. We're going to still play it the correct way that it is ruled over here. Some tournaments online have ruled it that they're going to play the OCG way, where this does not take the trap zone, but until they change it officially here, I would like to say consistent. So they draw into Gap. We take 5 off the wheel. They're going to attribute the Zoma for the Gap. Interesting choice of play here. They know we can absorb the Gap, so I'm not sure how that feels, but it does put Relinquish in attack mode. Who's currently at 0, however, we would also do all the damage back while this has an equipped monster. They're going to swing over Senju, so we're just going to let that go instead. On the end phase, we're going to double Cyclone the thing equipped with Relinquished and their back row, allowing us to then, on our turn, use Relinquish's effect, take the Gap. Why not summon this bird we drew, add the Illusion Ritual, and swing for what would be game. I'm just kidding, it's not game. Almost game. Puts them at 400. They only really could top the the insect card, but they didn't. So this is all smooth sailing for us. Go figure, they drew the Paranoid. Crazy, yep, crazy. So, going into game 2. Now, there are obviously other options to play than just Relinquish to deal with this Moth deck. Burn aside, I'd like to kind of stay away from Burn and the potential of Twisted Personality. And not that you can't use Twisted Personality in other decks. Here, let me lower the volume here. But at the same time, I kind of want to go through this without burn to see what other options are available. The upside to Relinquished over a lot of other things is that while the skill tributing Relinquished is very strong, if you don't have a way to stop that, because Illusionist Faceless Magician only works if the Relinquished monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, and if you're tributing it off of this, you don't get this thing to come back. We're playing triple Offerings to the Doomed in this deck. 1, to kill the Moth, but 2, if we have this in grave or hand, we can pop this when they're going to target it with their Paranoid. So it'll destroy it. Paranoid will go. Keep in mind they can only equip Paranoid once per turn, so that stops them for at least 1 turn. And then you can bring this back. And if they send this with Paranoid, you have no problem, because all this has to do is be sent from the field to the graveyard to get your Relinquished back. So you always want to be sitting on this if they're about to do that play. Makes it really hard for them to play around it. And once they expunge their one-off skill, and it being this effect, this deck is a lot slower. It's more tempo after that. It's more control. If you can blow through its defenses, then you have a really easy chance of winning the game. And Zoma doesn't make as much of a mess against you that it does in other decks because you can absorb it with Relinquished. Here, for example, is a perfect example. They pop it with Nidoria. We summon the Illusionist from hand, and then we are kind of smooth. We can sit on this card as long as possible and not worry about potential big plays, because as long as it's sent from field to grave, we'll always get our Relinquished back, which is really nice. Nightmare Wheel is more of a problem for this deck. You need to have the outs to it. I mean, yes, you can tribute the monster that Nightmare Wheel is on for Relinquished, but if they don't have a monster, it's not really a good play. In this situation, I think we're going to do it anyway, because taking their defense is good enough for us. And then we can have Faceless Magician attack directly. Putting Faceless in attack mode is nice because it kind of baits them to swing into it. But they shouldn't, knowing that we get Relinquished back, unless, of course, they have ways to deal with that after the fact. So this is cool. Moth is going to YOLO the Allure here. And they're going to be forced to discard their entire hand. However, this allows them to then use Cocoon's effect to shuffle a Moth, because it's an insect, back into the deck and draw a card. And go figure, they draw the Paranoid off of that one draw. That's real clutch. They're going to put it on Relinquished. They're going to send it Relinquished because this is on the field, so we can't... well, even if it wasn't, this is just going to work anyway. Because, again, it tributes. It's not destroyed by battle or card effect. They get the Moth off of that, and all of a sudden... This is crazy. This is exactly 2300 what would be game. Unfortunately for them, we have Offerings of the Doomed face down, so better play. We could alternatively have sphered there, then drew our card, then Offerings, this summon Relinquish, absorb the perfectly ultimate and try to swing for game. But what I didn't want to risk is that this being the third Zoma. If that's the case, I'd want to have a Sphere Karibo, because then on their turn they could just ram Zoma into our perfectly. And I did screw that up in the last video where I said it would be a tie if Zoma swings into a monster and you take battle damage and then Zoma inflicts the effect damage. If the battle damage results in reducing somebody's life points to 0, the effect damage, of Zoma will never occur because it's already the end of the game. I think I was getting mixed up where if you crash Zomas together, it's a tie. I'm not sure. But either way, yeah, that was my bad. So in this situation, like I said, they could do that. So I'd rather keep the Sphere Karibo just in case. We're not really in a bad position right now. They've already expunged both of their skills, so we're just going to slowly but surely whittle away at their life points. We draw in a bird, which is cute. We could always use another Black Illusion. And having an extra monster here is really nice, especially if it is Nidoria. It is Nidoria, however, I think I should have swung this into Doria, having Doria forcibly pop the Sonic Bird. That way we'd have this for the next turn. They have 1,000 life points, so either attack is game. We do, however, get the Relinquished back like this, and like I said, after they've expunged the tribute effect, this is more live. This isn't susceptible to being tributed off of this, so it's the effect of Magician is way more live than it would be if they hadn't. They draw Offerings, which isn't really gonna help. I mean, it kinda can. Relinquish is 0, so they're forced to attack, or to pop the Sonic Bird, but we drew offerings, so we're going to pop our Relinquished, summoning back our Magician, and having Magician attack for game. So that's the first match. Alright, so second match. Keep in mind, game 1, we're going back to main deck. If it's sided game 2 and 3, then we obviously side deck, but every game 1 it's going to go back. This is weird. See, the thing is, we're playing triple of this because of the synergy, both in destroying an opponent's monster, flipping 2 in the same turn, so we only skip 1 draw phase, and last but not least, popping either Relinquish to get Magician back, or popping Magician to get Relinquish back. It's really cool synergy there. Also, we're playing triple double Cyclone, which has extra uses in this deck as well, where you can pop the thing that's equipped with Relinquished to destroy one of their spell and traps or their Paranoid. But you can also like chain this, or flip this, destroy a monster, chain double Cyclone, destroying offerings that are doomed and a spell and trap, and it's really cool in that situation. I had 2 and 2 in the deck for a while with 2 Zoma, but I actually feel like this is just more consistent, and it gives the deck more response plays, which is nice. Unfortunately, in this situation, we drew 3. We're going to set 2 of them. I'd love to set 3 here, but the option of doing so just seems kind of ridiculous. I'd rather hold on to 1. And in this situation, it's a perfect example of let's skip 1 draw phase instead of 2. Midoriya swings, Zoma swings, and we pop that as well. You skip the next draw phase, but it doesn't stack. It's similar like the whole Reckless Greed thing. So you're only skipping 1 draw phase, which is nice, because both of the draw phases are the next draw phase. But unfortunately, they have the Dust Tornado for the 3rd offerings. They're going to flip to Koichi. They're going to tribute to Koichi for Gap. They're going to have Gap swing in for 2200. And we need a Relinquished. And that is, in fact, a Relinquished. So we're going to have Senju search Relinquished. At that point, we might as well use our skill right after the fact to get the 3rd Black Illusion Ritual. And then we will use Black Illusion, tribute the Senju, summon the Relinquished. Use Relinquish's effect, take the Gap, and swing for 22. Problem is they have Zoma the Spirit, which we would lose if we take 2200 to our life. So this is really bad for us because we have no way to stop Zoma from attacking us, and go figure, that's exactly what they do. They take 400, but they don't care. We take 22 for game. These decks do really go back and forth, and obviously a lot of it hinders on the fact of, do you draw the Parasite Paranoid at the right time or not. Relinquished always hindered on the fact of, if your opponent doesn't have a monster, it really can't do a whole lot of damage. We're playing 1 less bird because we're playing this skill, so it's 1 less 1400 beat stick, but we do have Illusionist Faceless, so that's always a thing. We're going to start this time with the skill, adding Illusion. But the problem is, again, like, you see the hand, it's just, there's nothing to tribute. You want to save this most of the time for an attack, especially against Moth. You want to always wall the big Moth effect, the big Moth attack. But absorbing a monster in face down defense mode to give this no actual boost in attack and defense doesn't make any sense unless we have a way to swing into their life directly with something else. So unfortunately, we're going to have to let this all go. They're going to draw with the Koichi into Zoma. They're going to set the Zoma. They're going to summon the Midoriya, and they're going to swing for a lot of damage. At this point, we'll Sphere, because why not? Putting this in defense mode allows us to absorb this and be able to get over the 1000 defense. I'd rather not have Relinquished die to Midoriya, so we're going to banish the Sphere, summon the Relinquished. Unfortunately, they sided in a Offerings to the Doomed, so on the summon they destroy Relinquished. And our recoveries consist of nothing. In phase, they're going to Zoma. They don't draw because of offerings, but they have all the firepower in the world for it to not really make a difference. Midoriya will swing, Dekoichi will swing. We're going to offerings the Dekoichi, chaining the double Cyclone, popping the offerings, and the Zoma, getting that off the field. However, we don't draw, so we're not going to be able to do anything. There we go. Yeah, we stacked it. So Midoriya is just smooth sailing in here. They haven't even used their skill yet, and they drew the Paranoid, so you know we're at a big disadvantage. We draw into double Cyclone, which doesn't actually do anything here. Since the face down is a bluff, we're going to set Cyclone as another bluff just in case, but why would they not swing? Yeah, that's game in a nutshell. So that's that match. So match number 3. Like I said, these decks, they're both really strong in their own rights. They both have ups, they both have downs, but unfortunately, the Moth deck has just way more options than anything else in the current format. So it's unfortunate because against anything else aside from Burn, both these decks have almost no problems with other decks. But I think Dark Moth is still clearly the better of the two. And even so, like, I think Burn is still better than Relinquished as well. Relinquished really can't deal with Burn all that well. So unfortunately, you know, it is what it is. This is the best deck by far in the game currently. So it's always fun to try to make an anti-meta deck or a deck that can beat the current meta deck. And this deck, and Relinquish itself, has like no real bad matchup outside of Burn, so it can take out everything else a lot easily. But the big thing is just the tributing of the Relinquished for the Moth effect, so we can't trigger our Magician. We net nothing off of that. It's a real pain, and it makes a lot of things harder than it should be. Like perfect example right here. Get the Cocoon, send the Relinquished, summon the Moth. We got nothing out of that. We have 2 offerings set, so I mean, at least we can wall both of these Moths from Paranoid going to the grave and summoning the other one. But then they get the extra draw, and like I said, card economy is everything in speed duels, and this just nets them so far ahead. Sure, these 2 will trade for these 2, but we don't get the draw, and they just got a draw. Sorry, that was a motorcycle outside. This shouldn't be here. I don't know why it still is. But Moth swings in, we offerings 1. Moth swings in, we offerings the second one. We only skip 1 draw phase, but they're going to have Nidorya swing in, because if we did already have Relinquished, there's no reason to let Nidorya get absorbed. So they clear our board, we don't draw. We're going to set a Black Illusion and pass as a bluff. They do draw, so now their cards are 2, but also both of these are live. They're Nightmare Wheels and Nidorya, whereas both of these are bluffs until we hit a Relinquish. So it just overpowers every option that we have. This is great. Would have been great a few turns ago, or at least better with the offerings that we had, but we can't do anything with it now. They don't even have to set this here. They could summon it and swing for 26, but obviously, unless it's game, why take the risk? They're going to swing for 12. We draw into Senju, so at least we have a play. We can get our Relinquished, and then we can flip Illusion, sending the Mage, summoning the Relinquished, having Relinquished absorb Nidorya, and you would think from here we have a really solid field. This is going to arguably kill it. However, they have the Nightmare Wheel for 1. We're going to swing with the second. They have the Nightmare Wheel for the second. And that's the thing with Dark Moth. Once its actual play is gone, it just plays through these dark monsters. This one that pops things. This one that draws extra cards. And the traps that do a lot of effect damage. Standby phase, we're taking 1,000 here. And we're already at 600 life points. And we have to out one of these to survive. They're going to allure, which works out in their favor. They banish the monster, they get Paranoid. Not that they need it, but like, it just puts them further into the game. Now they have an extra Koichi, they're gonna get an extra draw and another 1400 beat stick. We draw on a Sonic Bird, which doesn't net us anything. Even if we got the double Cyclone, which would have been the best play, we'd pop Doria, we'd pop the wheel, it's equipped to one of these 2. We'd then absorb Koichi with that Relinquished and swing. But the thing is, like, yeah, cool, we'd swing, and then we'd pass and then lose anyway. Or we'd swing, do another 14 and pass and lose anyway. Like, it just, there's so much extra to this deck. Set Koichi, Dust Tornado. Draw double Cyclone. Can we have a win? Please. We're going to get Relinquished and Black Illusion through the skill. We're going to set offerings, and double Cyclone. We're going to swing into their defense. They draw. Everything nets something. Everything replaces something. You know how current Yu-Gi-Oh! If everything replaces something, like, it ends up being relevant? Alright, they annoyed into the Moth. We have offerings though, so we're not too scared. They get an extra draw. It's another Noid. I'm going to set their offerings that they sided in, and to Koichi, they're going to swing in for 35. We're going to say no. We're going to chain double Cyclone. We're going to YOLO. We're going to hit this and offerings. What did we kill? We killed offerings. We don't draw. We set a bluff. We pass. They draw. Flip to Koichi. Draw a card. Get another Moth. Kind of works out here because now if this dies, they can, well, equipped, they can summon this Moth. We're gonna take 14 and pass. We're gonna draw a Sphere Karibo. They're gonna draw a Wild Tornado. They're gonna set it. They're gonna swing. We're gonna sphere that. We have plays, and they've used both of their skills. So in theory, we should be able to slowly but surely take their stuff and only have to deal with Zoma and Nightmare Wheel, and we have a decent amount of life points to do so. They're gonna Dust Tornado, which I think is a little odd. While we're attacking, they hit our offerings, which is a little unfortunate. End phase are gonna flip the other Dust Tornado. They could have done both of these at the end phase, but now we don't have either offerings, so the defense that we had is now gone. They're gonna summon Sphere Karibo. Now this is a very interesting play on their part. Gonna set Zoma. They're gonna swing with Sphere Karibo and ask for anything on attack deck. We say no, we don't have a response, so they're gonna equip, because this is a quick effect, Paranoid to Sphere. They're gonna then take 1100, Sphere dies, this dies while being equipped, so they get Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. Still cute, but they're gonna take the same damage we do because of Koichi. However, on asking once again on anything on attack deck, we say no. They flip Wild Tornado, popping to Koichi. Now we take a full 35 to the face. They don't take anything, and they win the game. Absolutely crazy. Really cool way to win on their part. But yeah. The decks are as follows: triple Relinquished, triple Senju, double Sonic Bird, double Illusionist, Faceless Magician, triple Sphere Karibo, triple Black Illusion Ritual, triple double Cyclone, and triple Offerings to the Doomed. Obviously, you want to play 3 and 3. Maxing out Senju is still good because Senju's a 1 card with this, with Ritual Ceremonies, the skill. You don't need this quite as much because of that skill, and also for the fact of like Senju's your go-to now. Go figure. Illusionist Faceless at 2 is nice. I like it better than 1. I definitely was wrong the last time I tried that. Having this, also you can tribute summon one of these for another one and trigger its effect, which is kind of cool. But its synergy with offerings is too good to not play multiple. You want to see it as fast as possible. You also want to wall as fast as possible and have extra tributes in your graveyard. Always works for that. The double Cyclones, solid card. Have no problems with this. Definitely love this card for the synergy that it has. Plus we're playing the Wild Tornadoes in the side deck, so it works out. As for the side deck, we play the 1 Lava Golem, which we didn't side in there at all. The 1 Jin, deal with trapped heavy decks. 2 Nightmare Wheel to slow down our opponents and do extra damage, and 2 Wild Tornado to pop extra face-up cards and synergize well with our double Cyclone. Alternatively, our Dark Moth deck plays 2 Perfectly Ultimate, 2 Gap that defines Soldier. This, by the way, is really good, except against Relinquished, so you'll see it more in later matches in the coming week. Triple Parasite Paranoid, triple Koichi, triple Dundoria, double Allure of Darkness. Every time I play 3, it ends up being dead, so we're going with 2. Triple Zoma, triple Nightmare Wheel, triple Dust Tornado. This is standard. 1 for the skill and 2 for the backup effect of this thing. This is standard against everything that's not Relinquished. So I can't hate on this card. It's an easy side out. It's good to lower target. Triple of this because it's your whole deck. Triple to Koichi because it gets you further into your deck and counts as a dark for Allure. And is nice having a 1400 beat stick. Triple Nidoria to level the playing field, also a dark monster for your Allure. Double Allure, like I said. The triple Zoma and the triple Wheel is standard. Triple Dust Tornado, you can play 2, but this deck has so many options available to it. 3 doesn't really hurt it as well, neither does the 24 cards in your deck. The side deck, I play 1 Dark Ruler of Hades. We can side Gap out for this. This is good against more like flip effect things, or just effects in general. You want to deal with Nidoria, this is really good against that. Golden Ladybug for time, also it's an insect, which is cute. Double Sphere Karibo, more or less for the mirror match. I think we sided it in against Relinquished. I think it was like a 1 of side in, but just to make sure big monsters don't kill your stuff. 1 Offerings, because this card's ridiculous. and it always is good, especially against Relinquished. And then one Wild Tornado, get rid of extra face-up cards like these on the field. So, guys, what did you think? Did you enjoy the video? Please leave your comments down below. Tell me if you liked, loved, or hated any of our card techs or choices. Please like and subscribe this video. As always, click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates, and I will see you guys in the next video. Yu-Gi Bros out.